Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Healthcare Innovation After COVID-19, and what are the career opportunities within the MedTech industry. Now, first of all, I want to thank you for taking time to attend this webinar. I know it's lunchtime. Your time is not something that we take lightly. And in the next 1 hour, myself and the guest speakers will do everything we can to bring value to you. So to start off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ambrose, and I manage the recruitment business at Integrity. Basically, my team and I specialize in recruiting for life science. That means we mainly recruit for medical device, pharmaceutical, and biotech industries. Next, I would like to introduce our guest speakers for today. Today, this webinar is a joint effort with APA, Asia Regulatory Professional Association, and we are fortunate to have two industry guests with us. First being Jack Wong, who is the founder of APA, as well as the global head of regulatory for Regas, a consulting firm with expertise in medical device. Jack has also previously led RA teams of some of the biggest medical device MNCs. Then next, I want to introduce Lloyd, Deputy Director of Sales for Mentor Media, which is the supply chain arm of the listed Elanders Group, and they specialize in medical and healthcare logistics. Now, before we kick off today's content, I would like to do a quick exercise. Right? I want to know what disciplines are all of you coming from, whether it's R&D, engineering, IT, sales, marketing, or HR, and what do you hope to get out of this webinar? Is it knowledge to help you with a career transition, or is it knowledge to help you invest, or just general knowledge altogether? So in the next 2 seconds, you're going to see this poll pop up. And you can take 20 seconds to fill it up. Right, I'm seeing research and development. I'm seeing engineering. Wow, there's a lot of research and development people. Okay, just gonna give it another 10 seconds. Still a lot of people not filling up. 70% are looking for career transition, 30% are looking for general knowledge. Most of you are coming from research, some sales, some marketing, and supply chain. Okay, great. So I see there's a lot of technical talent over here with a combination of commercial, and most of you are looking for a career transition. All right, so you're in the right place. I'm going to walk you through today. Right. So what we are going to do today is I'm going to walk you through the medical device development life cycle, look at the talent requirements now. What are some of the hiring strategies that MedTech companies adopt? And what are the common challenges working in MedTech? And at the end of it, Jack, Loy, and myself will share about how you can increase your chances of entering this industry and how you can bridge those gaps. I would also like to add that this webinar, we may not be able to go very in-depth, but our objective is to empower you with an overview. So let's begin. Okay, what you're seeing here is a comprehensive illustration of the medical device development life cycle. I know it looks complicated. There's so many opportunities within this lifespan, but don't worry, my team has simplified it for you. And as for this diagram, we'll send you a copy of this presentation after the presentation. So this is the medical device development life cycle simplified in 5 stages. First, you have the conceptual phase. Now, this is where we work with R&D and come up with a big idea. For example, we want to design mechanical legs that can send us to work without taking MRT or driving in bad traffic. So the engineers will look at the science behind this and put this leg together. The sales and marketing people will start assessing the target segments. Is it just going to be people with leg injuries, or is it the entire population in Singapore, because this mechanical leg is going to reduce their traveling time and therefore give them another 30 minutes to snooze, right? Finally, lawyers will look at the intellectual property landscape and see if there are similar products. So once we have this design, this blueprint, next is the design validation stage. We take this blueprint, this design, and we make it into a physical prototype to engage the customer and get feedback, right? So engineers at the same time will also start sourcing for potential suppliers and manufacturing. Now, once we have a physical prototype, a physical product, this is where we start to move into clinical, where we work with hospitals and patients to put the machine to the test. This is to confirm that the machine is safe for public use, safe for widespread use. Now, nowadays we talk a lot about the COVID-19 vaccine and how certain drugs are already going into clinical trials. But this is the exact same process that medical device goes through as well. Now, this process of medical device can be simple or complex, depending on the type of device. If it's a surgical glove, then your clinical testing is simple. Now, if it's going to be a stent implant, where you're going to insert something into a person, then it's going to be an extensive period of testing. So once we have certified that the machine is safe for use, we have worked with enough patients to make sure that it can go public, that's where we go for market approval. This is where regulatory affairs people come in. Their main role is to register the product with the local health authority. For Singapore, it would be HSA. Then the other thing they need to do is to get the industry certification, ISO 13485. Now, after we have fulfilled these two criteria, only then can we sell the product. For Singapore and Asia, we value a lot on the bigger body certification. So getting the Europe CE mark or the US FDA is usually the first step before we can register and sell the product anywhere else in this region. So once we have registered the product, then we move to post-market, right? Before we start to sell it, just right before we start to sell it. And this is where we prepare marketing collaterals. We touch base with KOLs, key opinion leaders in their respective therapy areas. Now, taking an example of the mechanical leg that is going to propel us to work, right? Without taking MRT or driving in a jam, we will reach out to the top orthopedic surgeons. Orthopedic is bones, joints, muscles. Now, we will share with these orthopedic surgeons this new groundbreaking technology in leg surgery. We will educate them on how this is going to change the landscape of traveling forever, right? And get them to endorse our product. Once we get their endorsement, then our salespeople can sell. And that's also where the production engineers will have jobs. So in a nutshell, this is the medical device development life cycle. And now that you have an idea of the life cycle, some of you are probably wondering, where do I fit in, right? If you look at R&D, you have different sorts of engineers. You have your mechanical engineer, firmware. You also have your scientist and your regulatory affairs executive. Now, R&D people will be most involved in stage 1 and 2, concept and design. Then you have your engineering people, who are another group of engineers. They are more into the process of production. So you have like manufacturing people, you have like process, you have like quality control, quality assurance. And engineering will be more involved in stage 4, market approval. So once we get the approval, we move into production, and that's where this group of engineers comes in. Then we have commercial, right? Commercial will consist of your salespeople, your product managers, your technical salespeople. Commercial people will be most active at stage 4 and 5, market approval and post-market. Then finally, you have support functions, your HR, finance, legal, and of course, supply chain. They will be involved right from stage 1, conceptualizing, all the way right up to commercializing. Right. Before we move forward, just a quick poll. How many of you can see yourself fitting into one of these departments? Right? Type 1 in the chat below if you can see a career transition. Type 2 if you have not figured it out yet. Oh yeah, just to show everyone, this is the chat we'll be using for today. Right, I'm seeing quite a number of ones. Nicholas 1, Sonzel 1, Joanne 1, Joyce 2. Okay, there are a number of tools here. Don't worry, the industry is actually a lot bigger than what we can cover. If you have queries at the end of the session, you can do the Q&A. So I'm seeing quite a lot of people can see transitions here. So I'm going to share a little bit more about how medical device companies recruit. When it comes to the hiring strategy, there are 3 hiring approaches adopted by medical device companies. Now, you're always going to have your permanent positions, you're going to have your contract positions, or they could outsource certain functions altogether to consultancy companies. At the end of the day, this depends on the level of funding, because outsourcing for the long term is expensive, right? it also depends on the level of innovation, because some companies are only looking to produce 1 or 2 products and then they'll market it for the next 5 to 10 years. So based on these 2 factors, they will then decide what sort of positions they are hiring for. Now, for example, if the nature of the project is one-off, right, most processes can be outsourced, right? Even R&D can be outsourced to design houses or contract manufacturers. In fact, a lot of startups use this model, and some companies actually have a very strong funding, so they'll be outsourcing for quite a long time. Now, if the nature of project is of continuous innovation, the company is ambitious, and they want to build a portfolio of products that's going to last for the next 5 to 10 years, then it is very likely they will build an in-house team by hiring a combination of experienced engineers, engineers coming from other industries, or fresh graduates. So what does this mean to you as a job seeker? Due to the nature of outsourcing, there is a finite amount of opportunities. Question to some of you. How many of you feel that you cannot consider a contract position? Now, type 1 in the chat if you are unable to consider a contract position. Type 2 if you're open to it. I'm seeing a lot of 2s. I'm seeing all 2s. Okay, in fact, I don't see a single one out of the about the 20 responses I've seen right so far. Okay, now here's the thing. The reality right now is that many MedTech companies are facing hiring freeze. But the good news is there has been very little retrenchment in this industry. What that tells me is that this industry is relatively stable. However, due to the headcount freeze, they can only hire contractors when they need an extra pair of hands. So, question, what do you think are the chances an experienced medical device professional with already many years in this industry would leave their permanent position for a contract position? Now, we don't really need an answer to that. Most people would not do that. But this is also where companies are willing to train someone new because they don't really have a choice. So if you're flexible to take up a contract, I've actually seen a lot of people kickstart their careers from contract positions. I know the concern that a lot of people have is, what if the company doesn't renew the contract, especially in this climate? Now, even if the company doesn't renew your contract, that 1 year of experience or even 6 months of experience can set you apart from other candidates, and it can be the breakthrough that you need to get an interview for a full-time job. So I would strongly recommend look at contract positions with a different light. Okay, common challenges in MedTech. Now, how many of you agree that in most industries, even if you were absolutely fantastic with your technical skills, it doesn't guarantee you promotion? Now, type 1 in the chat if you agree that promotion requires more than technical skills. Type 2 if you disagree. So 1 if you agree that promotion needs more than technical skills. Yep, so we're all aligned on this. Everyone, most people are on 1, a couple of 2s as well. Now, whatever I tell you is exactly the same in medical device. What common challenges will you face if you want to work in this industry? Why is this important? Because whether you're going for a job interview for the first time, or you've already been in the medical industry for 1 or 2 years, and you're looking to move up the ladder, your interviewers or bosses are always assessing your ability to handle these particular challenges, right? This is the difference between you getting hired or you getting promoted. And these are some of the common feedback that I always get from HR, GMs, or line managers. My staff only wants to focus on regulatory. My staff only wants to focus on quality. My staff just wants to do their manufacturing piece. Now, it is good to hone your craft and have standards to follow. But if you have a fixed mindset, you may limit your choices and your progression. Most of the companies in Singapore, whether it's a startup or a mid-size, is of a very hands-on nature, especially in the medical device industry. You usually have to do a blend of RA, QA, and you're doing manufacturing, you'll be doing production as well. So at the end of the day, most companies want to hire someone who wants to do more and solve more problems. Next, my technical team keeps insisting on their way of doing things. Now, how many of you have ever looked at a product and find that it has an overwhelming amount of features, an overwhelming amount of instructions that makes you hesitant to even buy it, right? Type 1 in the chat if you have had this experience. Yeah, I think everyone experienced this before. Now, likewise, for a lot of technical people, because they are so focused in their craft to design something, a state-of-the-art product that is very rich in features, they often overlook the fact that this may not be appealing to consumers. Now, this is where marketing people struggle to get their message or struggle to connect with the technical people. Being commercially savvy is going to shine you out and set you apart from others in your department, right? It will show that you are someone easy to work with, someone who gets the idea, and this is how you can move up in the organization. Next, my team members are very blunt when communicating with stakeholders. Now, if you need a design that is appealing to consumers, you also need your communication to be appealing to different business stakeholders. Now, using the example of the mechanical leg, let's say you are talking to a doctor today, right? You can tell the doctor, this leg has a rocket fuel engine that can launch you 1,000 feet into the air and see the clouds. My question to you is, what is this going to do for the doctor? What you're sharing is a feature. So what you need to do is to sell the benefit, help the doctor understand how he can help his patients, and in turn, help his career. For example, doctor, this leg has an engine so powerful, it can send your patients from Singapore to Malaysia in just 5 minutes. Now imagine what this can do for your career if you are the first doctor in the world to endorse this. In conclusion, if you know you've got these challenges, what can you do? Entering MedTech. Now, I know many people in related industries like oil and gas or semiconductor or some other technical industry feel that your experience is transferable. Now, that is true. But a question to all of you. Imagine you were a hiring manager for a medical device company. How many of you would be willing to interview someone from another industry if his resume had zero traces of exposure or experience in medical device? And of course, you are under stress to deliver on your KPIs. I think most of you would agree that you cannot afford to give the chance to someone completely new. So what can you do to bridge this gap? First, learn something to sell yourself. It could be through attending webinars like this. There are many other webinars very in-depth into the medical device industry. You can attend courses, whether it's with the certification bodies, SGS, TUV, SUD, or even Udemy, right? These are things that you can indicate on your resume that you have attended. Now, will this significantly increase your chances of being interviewed? To be honest, not that much. But it's better than nothing, and it's a start compared to if you just send in your resume with no mention of medical device at all. So how can we improve our chances of entering the industry? The next thing is know somebody and broaden your network channels. If I asked all of you, do you know someone who got a job without having any relevant experience, and the only reason he or she got the job is because they knew someone in the company? Now, this is the reality for almost all industries. So you need to go out and meet people. And where do you meet them? Join associations, Biotech Connection, APA. Go for conferences like BioBase and MedLab. These are really, really huge conferences that I held every year. And I can't count how many candidates I know of started their career just from meeting people over there and having great follow-ups. Right? Now, at this point, I also know what some of you are thinking. Ambrose, I'm not an outgoing person and I'm not ready yet. So my question is, can you ever be 100% ready for something you have never done before? Well, honestly, no. So what if I told you networking is just taking a leap of faith and practicing your people skills and soft skills? And that 8 years ago, right, I would not dare to sit here to talk to any of you. So throw yourself out there to all these network conferences and just open yourself to possibilities. Sometimes, right, people are not looking for the most eloquent person. They are looking for a technical person, and just nice you could be that person. that, that creates some interest in them. Then the next thing is attend courses. Now, if you're looking to enter regulatory affairs and you want to build a foundation in regulatory affairs, then you can look no further than APA. If you're looking at improving your soft skills, your people skills, consider taking management workshops that we have to sharpen your skills. We have corporate development training to improve your professional image in terms of your presentation, whether it's your choice of words or your posture. We also do general management workshops so you can chair better meetings and of course manage workplace conflicts, which we all know, if done correctly, can have a huge impact on your careers. Then presentation skills as well, because that becomes a natural part of your KPI as you move up the ladder. Of course, we also do one-to-one coaching so we can spend more time with you. And we also coach our candidates on how to approach interview sessions with prospective employers. So once you have equipped yourself with the skills, the next thing you do is to find a job. And our guest speakers next will share their insights on how to thrive in this industry. Okay, so I'd like to hand over to Loy, and he'll be sharing the 3 in-demand skills of MedTech. Loy is very experienced. He's been working with a lot of medical device distribution, working with a lot of different principal companies. Then after that, Loy will hand over to Jack. As I mentioned, he has a very established career in medical devices. He's going to share about the importance of regulatory affairs and how to collaborate better with various stakeholders. So this is applicable to all functions. So over to Loy.
Oh, thank you very much, Ambrose. All right, everybody, thank you for taking your lunchtime to attend this webinar. Right, in reference to this pandemic situation, right, well, there are really opportunities lost painfully, but there are also opportunities arising from it, okay, predominantly from the MedTech industry, where we see what we have not been noticing in peacetime becomes very valuable today. All right, simple example will be like the face mask that we are wearing. Okay, and so are jobs in the MedTech industry. Well, of course, we are not going to start a poll on this, but hey, I have never heard of social distancing ambassador as a job previously, right? Did you? Okay, so when we talk about conversion in terms of our industry, which is expertise, which is something that closer to our heart today, okay, into that applicable to the MedTech industry, fundamentally, can I say that the skill sets are pretty much the same? Yes and no. Okay, because what we are looking at today in the MedTech industry, part of it is actually for the human machine. All right, we will have to see some stringent governance in its process of making the spare parts. Well, the difference from the past and now is we really have good devices that make our lives more comfortable and better. All right, trust me, these are really important. First of all, I can actually have a 1-hour argument with Jack about this, but I would definitely think that there are a lot of growth in demand for QA and RA, okay, due to the nature of the industry. Processes, products heavily governed by the regulation and bodies that control them. International standards, that is, hence the gatekeepers speaks with the gatekeepers of each organization. Well, this is essential for sure, not to mention the heavy legal liabilities that actually comes with it in the event of a non-compliance. I'm sure in this case, Jack can actually attest to it, of course. Now, here's the good thing. This skill set is actually unique and specialized. Apropos to the objective of this webinar, specialists who are already in this space, okay, but in a different industry can actually consider doing a conversion here, all right? So these are gatekeepers that we are talking about in RA and QA, all right? So next, in years, right, there are actually heavy investments revolving around this industry. Many unique products are introduced to the market worldwide, okay? Product specialists who are actually well-versed with products and understand how they are used, ability to articulate the products effectively is vital for every business, the way I look at it. Okay, now what we see today, proficient product specialist goes as far as into the OT and teaches the surgeons on how to use their products in the surgery itself. Okay, oh, this is very real because a lot of BD people, sales people that I see in global companies, global medical devices companies with very, very strong product acumen, right? They are actually practicing this right now. Even the surgeons have to listen to them to understand how to make the product itself. Okay, so these are rainmakers. The way I look at it, these are rainmakers. They also advocate products and new products to doctors, to the rest of the stakeholders within the medical industry. All right. So lastly, the backbone of every company itself, I would like to say it's operations. Well, it's important to have the know-how of how to manage the business within their four walls and housekeep the functionality. Well, again, these are very specialized skill sets with high entry bars. As I mentioned again, they involve very, very specific liabilities. Well, there are space for transfer from other business operation functions of other industries into MedTech, which is what we are talking about today. Okay, we also look at basically following the scope of work and rule of engagement dictate between clients and then compliance and international standards. I don't know, perhaps ISO, right? Being at the pulse of this industry, I would think that a lot of medical companies, be it startups, established ones that are looking at Singapore as a regional base, yes, we know that this is a fact for years, and these are headcounts that add value to the organizations. Well, this is still happening here. They are still hiring, despite situations as such, and I'm sure the panel can actually attest to that. Yeah. And so these are the people that I refer to them as housekeepers. All right, the operations people mainly, we term them as housekeepers. So what do we have today? We have gatekeepers, we have rainmakers, and then we have the housekeepers for you guys to consider. Thank you very much. I will actually take any questions from here later on. I would like to pass the time to my partner, Jack. He will expand in length on the topic that he wants to speak about today. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. And again, welcome everyone to enjoy this webinar during your lunchtime. And I hope you will find this webinar helpful so far, that will increase your employability and also promotion chance, I will say. And I think you can see there's a lot of different hiring strategies from a real hiring company, recruitment company and professional like that. So I think this is a very, good chance to look at this topic from a very professional angle. And there are many roles you can see in Amber's presentation. There's in the whole life cycle. Your next step may be how you can match your expertise or your passion into this so-called development, because opportunity is a lot. And then if one day somebody offer you a job, maybe QA plus RA or RA plus something, how do you able to tell the person, yes, I want to go for it and I want to try it? That really, something I really highly recommend you have some sort of so-called a career plan, your own passion, your own strength being identified, so that you can prepare for this development. Okay, let's go to my core topic today, which is one of the so-called demanding, people who look for this skill during the recruitment. And I talked to many of my regulatory friends in the industries. During the interview, it's not easy to find a good candidate for your regulatory job or even for the MedTech job, because everyone looks more or less the same, because, oh, I work how many years on here, I know the regulatory, etc. But there's a few skills a lot of recruiters, including myself, are really looking for, but not many candidates have. One of it is a stakeholder management skill. To know the regulation, not that difficult. You can sit down and then read a little bit, you will know the regulation in Singapore, etc. But stakeholder skill, is tough and very important, because I think you are aware, in our industry, we have many, many stakeholders. Even inside the company, we have a commercial department, QA, supply chain, and then we have a country office, maybe regional office, and also global office. We have external stakeholders like government officials, sometimes testing lab, etc. So we have many people to deal with, and your communication skill or stakeholder management skill is super critical, because all of them, they come from different background, different expertise, And a lot of them maybe have no idea what is regulatory about in terms of all the regulatory requirement, but they just want to know, how you work, how I can support you, that kinds of thing. And one of the typical example or most typical conflict will be the regulatory and the commercial. Because commercial always want launch quicker. Oh, can I have approval 1 month earlier or even quicker? And then regulation always talk, oh, according to regulation, section 2, we need a certificate of what. That makes sometimes commercial people don't have, then you just tell me when approved. I don't want to know all these very complicated regulation thing. So the communication didn't get along very well. And so that's why, this, I call it stakeholder management skill, very important. How you can digest the information and make the commercial team super supportive to you. And of course, they also the one can help you to do the promotion, isn't it? So one of the a few tips I want to share with team is when I see different interview process, a lot of times we will give a scenario to the staff. They say, okay, in this situation, how you handle. And I see a number of good answers that they how to handle, for example, commercial stakeholder. And I want to share a few examples here. One is like when you receive a problem, can I register this product under different classification or, any difficult question? A good regulatory person normally will offer options. That, oh yeah, you have option A, B, C. And option A was the pros and cons, etc. But that sounds maybe reasonable to you, but if you imagine a lot of RA people nowadays, they will just say, no, you cannot do that. According to regulation, no. According to this, no. So the mentality is not really there yet because maybe we get used to say no, because we want to tell the commercial team, according to regulation, is say no there already. But as a good regulatory, you always have some interpretation regulation and offer options. Another one I really really recognize what Lloyd mentioned is the so-called commercial sense. I think Ambrose also mentioned that as well. A lot of time we regulatory people, we really talk a lot of regulation. We talk regulatory. But in the interview process, one of the example I see is, in a few chance, I see a candidate talk commercial to me, and that really make me remember the person, because this will be a guy or person able to communicate with commercial very well. How he say is, my company are going to launch for this product. And this product have two important selling points, maybe less side effect, and there's a new indication. And then my commercial team are thinking there'll be 2 million business on the first year, and overall 5 years, there may be 10 million. So the first year will be 2 million, I'm helping them on. And they are thinking the target launch date is October this year, because there's a conference they are going to meet. They want to showcase their product on the October conference. So we as a regulatory team helping them on that one. So you can see, with this simple 20-second talk, he talked about the customer need, the key selling point, the launch day, the sales target, and how me as a regulatory related to the business. That's very, from my angle, beautiful, like a music to commercial people. This is my team. This is supporting me, not always here to say, we don't know, it depends on this, depends on that, and approval time, government cannot commit now, they will be busy, I will check with them next week. You feel a little bit hopeless, and then, oh, I still don't know whether I can meet my conference date at all. So, I hope with this so-called little example, you got a feeling that how you can be a partner to them. Because I just say stakeholder management skill may be too empty, but you can speak their language, and then you can fit your job into their role. That would be great. The same for supply chain as well, because supply chain and RA people are very important business partner. At the end of the day, to me, if I'm a commercial people, I don't want product approval. Actually, I want product launch, not just approval. And then when the supply chain try to order it and make it, then you know, they realize the label regulation approved, it can be manufactured because you want a red color on somewhere, manufacturing site is not ready to make it. They would delay the launch because manufacturing process take longer time. They're no good, right? So why don't the regulatory people, and the commercial, supply chain people work together at the early phase so that when we as a regulatory people develop our regulatory strategy or timetable, we already including all the supply chain element. Okay, they need to start production when, and they need to make label like that. So I provide them information like earlier so that they can start the process earlier. Okay, commercial team, you want to launch a product in a symposium. Maybe you don't need to wait for my product approval. You just need a sample hang around or a brochure. Maybe I will try to find some way for you to do that. Like that, so that we have a overall strategy, not only for your own regulatory approval, but also align with the commercial team, supply chain team, etc. Then you are like the, you know, the star of the company, the most crucial department in the company that really helping the product launch. Is talking about product launch, not just approval time, like that. So that will be super, you know, value added. And you know, sometimes in the interview, you'll be helpful when you waste, you know, a lot of time you need to give example, right? That, hey, you have this good skill, you have that experience, can you give me example? Please bring out an example that you can deal with or work with the stakeholder, like, oh, how I work with this department and get this thing done, launch a product quickly, like that. That would be super impressive, and including some sales number as well. I can tell you, according to my 20 plus experience, 20 years plus experience, I would say only 10% of RA people can talk sales number. You know, not many can really able to say, okay, this is the product launch, 2 million sales target this year, 10 million in 5 years time. This is like totally not their topic, but you know, I highly recommend, you know, because knowing this actually help your prioritization to know which project is earlier, etc. And also, it actually at the end of the day, like Ambrose mentioned, if you want to look for promotion, you cannot just say, I work here so many years, I do how many projects, you should promote me. No, you need to calculate your way based on the business impact. You know, in last year, I helped the company to launch 5 products, and that generate how many million? Wow, this guy important. And then you know what? I also help with the supply chain team and commercial team and help to make the launch day maybe 2 months earlier than the target day. And you know, 2 months means how many million as well. So you see, as a commercial team, as a company boss, they really look at you not just getting the approval certificate. You actually bring a lot of million or business impact, including patient impact as well. So I'm happy to give you promotion, you know, increment, that kinds of thing, because they have a very solid justification like that. So that's, you know, your internal stakeholder. And of course, another important stakeholder is your regulator. You need to talk their language. And they don't talk million, no? They talk about patient impact. You know, governments, you know, if you approve this product, this side effect, if so many patients are suffering now, and my software, just upgrade this software, you will minimize all the pain for all these patients. So, you know, the longer we approve, let's say 9 months to approve a software upgrade like that, all these 9 months, all these people just suffer from this pain unnecessarily. So let's do something together to make the patient less painful. We can provide you this document, we can provide you support, etc. It's a simple change, just a software upgrade. You know, if you're a government official, you listen to this, you actually may have a better reason why I need to look at your file earlier, or take it urgently, or do something about it at least. Because me as a regulator don't want to make my public or my citizen painful for all these 9 months, right? And if a simple change and it's a critical, not many technical change, maybe I can give you a quicker approval for the sake of patient at least. So you see, you need to have a way or justification to work with different stakeholders, and the language is different, but the outcome is the same. Maybe bring a good value to the company, patient, etc. I'm sorry that when I talk about stakeholder, I can easily overrun and keep talking for more hours like that. So I think I will pause here, and I will take care more questions during the Q&A part. And again, one more message is if you want to learn more regulatory, please join the ARPA Association. I think there's at the end there's a web link here. You can go there. And I really appreciate Ambo's support today, because he's our Manpower Chapter Chair in the ARPA, and we're really happy this presentation go well, and you got some good insight from a recruiter point of view, recruiting company, how to improve your so-called hiring or employment strategy like that. Thank you again for the team.
Thank you, Loy, and thank you, Jack, for your valuable input. Just to add on to what both gentlemen shared, from a recruitment point of view, one of the questions that a lot of my clients will ask, whether it's a regulatory affairs position or a marketing position or a sales rep, is they will always ask, how do you deal with difficult stakeholders? How do you communicate with different stakeholders? So I think this is one thing that not only just moving up in the business, it's also one aspect that gets you higher into the business. So today we have covered about how to enter MedTech. We covered the challenges as well, and of course we've covered how to bridge those gaps. One of the ways to bridge those gaps is we talked about was to join associations. Just like Jack said, I just really like to highlight ARPA. ARPA is actually an organization of regulatory affairs professionals across Asia. This is one avenue to stay up to date on how the MedTech industry is changing. Now, whenever the industry changes, regulations is one of the first things that follows. Also, I think once COVID subsides, we will have networking events where you can meet hundreds of people who are coming from a core function from all the different medical device companies. So membership, there's no cost to membership, so take advantage of this starting point. Then, of course, a quick bit about ourselves. Other than professional coaching, we are actually specialist recruiters in life science. That means we mainly cover medical device, pharmaceutical, and biotech. More than half of our team is actually from the industry itself. We have a former nurse, doctor, regulatory affairs, pharmacist, and all of us focus on an area, whether it's sales and marketing, regulatory, or clinical. So if you have friends in this area looking for work, or if you're keen to know more, just feel free to reach out to us by email. Right. Thank you so much for your time. We've come to the end of the presentation. I know that some of you have not taken your lunch, so you might have to go off. You can send your questions to us, or if you have 10 minutes, we'll be here in the next 10 minutes to answer your Q&A. There's a chat tab below, I believe, that you can put your questions in and we can see and answer accordingly.
Hi, Ambrose. I think your mic is mute, like that.
Okay. I see some questions coming in. So let me address them one by one. Are there positions where you can start with no experience in RA? Um, Basically, everyone in RA starts with no experience, but it's like what I mentioned earlier. You need to find the opportunity to enter into the industry. So, what sort of ways can you enter? Networking, like I said, attending courses, writing your resume with webinars and courses. Another way is if there are internships, do take it. Um, Even if you are a professional, now it's a very big gamble, but there I have seen candidates who really want to enter this industry. They took up an internship and then they got themselves into a full-time role after that. I've also successfully helped a lot of candidates move into the industry. They all started with contract positions. Contract positions are the ones that they don't have to consider experience. I remember I put this lady into a very big company as well, Becton Dickinson. She had no experience. She took up a contract role, and now she's in a full-time job for at least for the last 3 years, really.
I think based on that, right, I also remember several candidates, or rather several positions that were actually filled up with by very junior elementary people. That means fresh grads. I'm not talking about intern. Intern probably is not full-time, but we talk about fresh grads. They enter small, and then from there, they work their way up. I think essentially there are a lot of organizations that train and build people, promote them from within in order to start small. I think apropos to that, perhaps Jack, he could have started in RA. I think everybody does. We started from a very elementary position, and then we take up more responsibilities from time to come. It's either within the organization or beyond the organization.
Yeah, thank you, Lloyd. And me as a work in many companies before, and we recruit a lot of people. The question is, when you look at this is a tricky question. Like, I don't have RA, can I work in RA? But think about this angle. We actually don't want RA people. We want a person to solve the RA problem. Okay, if you can prove to me that you can solve my RA problem, then you are in this job. We are not here just look at the CV and check the title. Yeah, you're RA manager before, then you come, just like that. So then let's look at the RA problem. The RA problem is maybe registrations, maybe you talk to the stakeholder to align your priority, etc. But think about that. Doing the registration, I understand the regulation, how to fill in the application form is nothing super difficult, right? You can sit down 1 week, you can learn the product, you can learn the regulation. But the stakeholder management skill, your personality, your willingness to learn, all that kinds of thing is more important. So you can convince the recruiter that, okay, for the regulation, already maybe go association, or already attend some class, I have some idea. And filling the form is nothing rocket science. I need 1 year to learn. But I have other skill in my university, in my other job, that's super important to your RA jobs. Then you stand a chance. And I see a lot of example, people have no regulatory experience, they still submit their CV and they still get a job at the end because of this, mentality like that. The same case for applying, if you work in a commercial role, the same. I never sell your product before. In the past, I only sell maybe one type of product on cardiovascular. Now I need to sell renal product. No, it's okay, I can learn, but the selling skill is more important, right? So that's the way how you convince your recruiter. So no matter what, no harm to try. You should try like that. And I see some of the question from the team member here is, you're looking for RA training. Yes, at the moment we are teaching in 9 universities at the moment, but they are to the university students. So you may not able to take that kinds of course. And we are going to roll out a lot of online training, because in the past we have face-to-face training by partnering with SG Innovate, etc. But now because of COVID-19, no more physical training, so we'll roll out more online training together. So our education chapter chair will roll out very soon. So please stay tuned, join as a membership. We'll let you know when the online training will happen accordingly. But today is one of it, that's why we have this Manpower chapter chair, Ambrose, to share some skill with you like that. So we'll roll out more webinar like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I also see, just to add on, I also see that someone is asking about new in clinical research and how do you increase your chances for a job in this field. Now, traditional way of applying for jobs is always, I see what a lot of people do is they just click and apply everything that they can see. They see clinical, they'll just apply. Like I said, if you don't have experience, then your resume will just look like another non-relevant profile on the hiring manager or the HR's inbox. So first thing, like I said, get the knowledge, attend courses and stuff, network. Now, network is not restricted to meeting people in person. You can always reach out to hiring managers in CROs, drop them a note, and also like what Jack said, maybe you can concise your introduction to about 3 to 5 sentences on how you can help them solve their clinical research problem. So it could be just 2 paragraphs. Who am I? What's my background like? And it shouldn't be lengthy because attention span is really short. And what you have done that you think you'll be able to solve their problems. So this is one way to increase your chances of the field.
I think there are a lot of questions revolving around mid-career switch. I think we are talking about transition, especially at a time like this. The fact is, I will actually talk about the people who lost their job, right? Because of skill set obsolescence and some other factors, like because of this situation right now, we have people who have lost their job. I think basically, if we are more interested in talking about mid-career switch, right, then it will be a good, you see, if just for example, I was in logistics. I was doing logistics, general logistics, okay, for a while. Then after which we did a transformation. The organization itself actually did a transformation into medical devices, handling healthcare. Okay, so that transformation itself actually lead to a lot of opportunities. My QA, by the way, my QA within my organization actually, his background is actually in marketing. Okay, he did a marketing course in university back then, and then he is doing QA now. So that change itself actually brought along a lot of opportunities. Okay, we bring in people, we get exposed into the industry. I think, Ambrose, what you have mentioned about networking is definitely one factor that you can get closer to the industry. That's one. Second thing is, of course, to get exposure on the know-how, courses, attending courses, external courses, and all that, reading up to be exposed is another good way to get into the industry, and then to do a transition of your career. Okay, I will also think that in relevance to whatever you are doing. Today, I was actually doing business development, global business development with general logistics. Okay, no vertical industries in mind. When I went in to do medical healthcare, medical logistics, right, I was just thinking to myself, how do I associate the way we work with general logistics and to medical? So you got to find an association point that links it up. I'm already at the best of what I'm doing in logistics. So my organization actually does a lot of high-tech products and so much so forth. But how did we actually get into the healthcare and medical logistics? Is because we find the relevant point. Okay, I can do this for laptops. I can do this for printers. I can do this for computers. Okay, and I can impart that same skill set and knowledge into that of medical device. which is something that we need to ponder. We ourselves, of course, if we do not go that far, we ourselves, how does my skill set right now be in relevance to what the market is looking for?
Thank you, Lloyd. Just like Lloyd said, I think a lot of the questions are actually overlapping. If you have background in quality operations, do recruiters hire such candidates? Yes and no. Exactly the theme we've been going about is what can you show on your resume if you don't know anyone that's going to help you bridge that gap. So try to get more, if you're looking for RA roles, try to go for some of the RA courses, show your involvement, like, you joined the APA activities and things like that. Next question, how do I get the most out of RA internship? You're already working on ISO 13485 SOPs, documentations. I think these are great things already. If you have the opportunity, get yourself involved in helping out with the registrations, whether it's like registering a class B, C, D device to HSA. Even if you're just compiling the documentations, that is great exposure. So be proactive, take initiative to go and see if you can help out in those areas.
Ambrose, I also want to comment on this because we also take care of lots of intern on and off. And I do see a lot of interns, they are pretty passive. They are waiting for the boss to tell them what to do. If nothing to do, then they're okay. Then sometime for the whole internship, maybe nothing much happen. Maybe just do some administrative work because intern suppose know nothing. They cannot do big project. They cannot do that. So, even the recruiter, the company, don't know what the internship can do for them as well. So they stuck there. So to me, I highly recommend, if you have a chance to work in a MedTech company in the internship time, really maximize it, because at the end of the day, you want two things: the knowledge, which is you should actively asking for. You like Ambrose mentioned, oh, I want to do a registrations. I want to try one. I want to try that. And the second thing is a network, so that you meet all the people there, no matter supply chain, regulatory, commercial people, so that, like Ambrose mentioned, do you know the people in industry? I know, I talk to the commercial guy teach me this. We even go to visit a client and see, wow, their job is not easy, they need to convince the doctor this and explain this thing to doctor, etc. So that's how you build your network and your knowledge. And you need to actively asking for that, because normally internship, people are not here. The staff in the company are not employed to take care of the intern. They need to take care of their own thing. So if you don't fight for it, maybe nobody will fight for you. So maximize that chance. One thing when we do it in a training in university, we always recommend people to have a career plan, because you have so many things you can learn, so many networks you can acquire, but you need to have a strategy behind to learn the related knowledge and network, and that's come to your career plan. And if you have any question about how to draw a career plan, I think our speaker today here, we are happy to help you. You can connect us to LinkedIn. We are able to offer you some advice maybe. So that's my quick input. Thank you.
Okay, Jared, thank you so much. Just to wrap up the final question, Natalie is asking, what are the hiring prospects of RA executives at this point in Singapore? Okay, as I said, the good news is that there's been little to no retrenchment in this industry. So it tells you the strength of this industry, that it is something that is stable and long-term. However, you will definitely see a lot of hiring freeze. So there is a drop in hirings for RA executives or any other function for that matter, but there will still be some positions now. And what you want to position yourself in this COVID space, right, is to gear yourself up, improve your background, improve your skills, improve your exposure, join causes, so you have more things to write on your resume. Because at the end of the day, when this COVID-19 subsides, there will be a lot of new investment into the life science industry altogether. And life science includes your medical device, your pharmaceutical, and your biotech. And medical device is the one that is the forefront. It has the most opportunities because it is still a relatively new industry and the barriers of entry is not high. So a lot of companies are coming in right now to set up probably after COVID, a lot more will come in. So you really want to position yourself for that phase. Yeah. So probably that's all we have today. Just want to see an interest level. How many of you would be happy to have another lunchtime webinar, maybe once a month, right? On different topics like how to engineer yourself better for an interview, how to improve your resume, or even technical skills like what sort of skills can I look out for in my RA role. Yeah.
And maybe
So if you
even
have any,
career plan.
yeah. So if not, we're just gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for participation. Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Loy.
Thank you very much, Ambrose, and to those who are attending this.
And
Thank
Lisa
you
for
very
helping
much.
to moderate this. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you again. Have a good time.
Thank you.